Day 25, 31 nights, 31 frights. It's the final week. My other glasses broke, so I'm wearing my fake Cartiers. This is a Rockaware robe from 40 years ago. I'm wearing a winter hat. Nothing makes sense. I'm tired. I'm sick of this segment, honestly, and I don't want to do this anymore. But here we go, I guess. In all seriousness, though, it's day 25 of 31 Nights and 31 Frights. We're down to the wire here. It's the last week, and today we got a special one. We are watching ANDRÉA. Okay, full disclosure, I've never seen this film, and that's why it's on this segment, as that is a prerequisite for me to even review these films. And now that I finally have, I think it's fucking hilarious. This is a very niche entry in my 31 Nights segment, because if you're not Dominican, and were between the ages of 8 and 13 when this movie dropped, you probably have no idea what this is. ANDRÉA is a super duper scooper low budget Dominican horror cult classic from 2005. So underground, so cult in fact that you can't find it anywhere at all except for this garbage quality upload on YouTube. As I said before, I'd never seen this film until now, and I feel like this film's reputation is largely nostalgic, and it's held up by people who haven't actually seen or revisited the film in years. And if you ask a Dominican about this movie, they're probably gonna say something like, yo, that movie scared the shit out of me as a kid. Yo, my mom put that shit on one night and it traumatized me as a kid. My father told me que le traiga la juca a la cocina, and I walked by and seen it and I couldn't sleep as a kid. So, you know, the as a kid thing is a recurring theme with this sort of, you know, opinion of this film. So I'm not coming into this movie as a 12-year-old in 2005 watching it for the first time with his parents when it first dropped. I'm coming into this as a desensitized ass fucking Rockaware robe wearing 26-year-old father of two in 2020. So that's the place that this review is gonna come from, so keep that in mind. First of all, it sounds like shit and it looks even worse. I even asked Twitter if there were any HD or even standard definition 720 uploads anywhere that I could watch, and the general consensus was that that's just what the movie looks like. So I had to sit through Sidekick LX production value for over 2 hours, which very negatively affected my perception of this movie. And before I get too disrespectful, right, keep in mind that any harsh criticism I give this movie is my prerogative as a Dominican, okay? I can point and laugh at how awful this movie is because I'm really from it and these are my people, and I can acknowledge that this film is the result of people wanting to make the best thing they could with basically no resources, and that has to be respected, as well as its importance in pushing the horror genre in Dominican cinema where it otherwise had little to no representation. Having said that though, this movie is fucking hilarious. It is so awful. It's so awful watching this as a 26-year-old for the first time, and it is not scary at all whatsoever. The sound is terrible, so I can hardly understand anything anybody is saying, and the visuals are pretty ambitious for what it is, but it's like 240p the entire time, and that made this 2-hour experience feel like a whole fucking day. The story is difficult to follow and the cuts are super awkward, which makes this whole experience kind of confusing, but it's paid off in the end, I guess, so it's not all for naught. But I gotta be honest, I would have been fine not watching this at all, honestly. I only watched it because of its infamy among my people, and I felt like I was missing out on a piece of Dominican cult horror culture, and there isn't much of that in the Dominican community, so, you know, I figured why not make the first time watching this be for this segment. As far as the story, this girl ANDRÉA is at her father's funeral, for which they can't exactly afford a headstone, so she takes a cross from an unmarked grave nearby, which unleashes a curse on her and her family. She gets possessed, there's a ghost, there's a demon, there's a ghoul or something, and the rest of the film happens. I won't spoil it in case anybody wants to try and fucking sit through this. I think a lot of the reason this film hit so different when it came out was because of DR's heavily spiritual culture and the poverty that greatly affects most of the island. It's also based on a true story, according to my mom, but I don't know, you guys take that source for what it's worth. Taking a cross from an unmarked grave isn't super far-fetched and seems harmless in essence, but it could have deadly consequences as the rest of the film exhibits. So the plausibility of the situation, plus the found footage reminiscent structure and home video quality, probably made this movie a really haunting and grounded experience at the time of its release. Also, no film like this had existed or had been made in DR up until this point, so it was probably a pretty fucking shocking experience for a lot of Dominicans who had never experienced a homegrown horror film before. I can't say the same about it now though, and I almost wish I actually had seen it when I was 12 so that my memory of it would be as positive or as infamous as some of my friends, but I honestly can't say the same. By 2020 standards, this movie was fucking terrible and unintentionally hilarious, and the only reason I can think of to watch it would be, again, to experience a piece of niche Dominican horror so that you're aware of its importance and its place in Dominican history as the genre continues to move forward in the Dominican Republic. And for that, I'm going to give this film 1 Dominican flag emoji out of 5 because cultural and historical relevance is probably the only reason I can think of to watch this garbage dog shit film. Anyway, that was Andrea. You can watch the awful quality copy on YouTube for free because it's not anywhere else. But yeah, I'll try to wear actual clothes tomorrow. And yeah, I'll see you guys tomorrow.